Have you ever noticed a woman suddenly shift her energy toward you when you stop texting, take time for yourself, or focus on your own life? That shift isn't random. It's her mind reacting to the possibility of losing someone valuable. Your confidence, self sufficiency, and subtle absence trigger a deep instinctive response, the fear of losing you. Understanding how to recognize and influence this response gives you a powerful edge in attraction. Welcome to the channel. Here we explore female psychology, human behavior, and attraction in ways that cut through confusion. If you want to recognize the signals a woman sends when she values you and learn how to respond in ways that increase her desire and emotional investment, you're in the right place. These are actionable insights you can use immediately, not abstract theories. Women are naturally wired to notice value and scarcity. When a man steps back or creates space, her mind evaluates the situation constantly. Is he slipping away? How important is he? Do I need to act to keep him close? Her body and behavior often respond before she consciously thinks about it. Some women make their interest more visible, showing warmth, playfulness, or curiosity. Others react subtly, checking your social presence, recalling shared moments, or increasing attention in ways that can be easy to miss if you're not paying attention. Your response shapes the effect. Calm confidence and strategic distance amplify desire while overreacting or chasing attention diminishes it. The key is to observe patterns, understand the signals, and let your value and consistency do the work. Your presence becomes magnetic and your absence becomes meaningful. In this video, we'll break down the ways you can naturally trigger a woman's fear of losing you. You'll see how body language, emotional dynamics, attention, and strategic availability combine to spark curiosity and attachment. By noticing subtle cues and responding intelligently, you create attraction that feels effortless but is grounded in psychology. Watch closely, take note of the patterns, and apply them to see the changes in her behavior. Before you continue, hit the subscribe button and drop a comment sharing your experience. Have you noticed her energy shift when you step back? Your story helps others see these signals clearly. 1. Creating absence. The first step to triggering a woman's fear of losing you is mastering absence. When you stop initiating constant contact, you give her space to notice what she has and reflect on your value. This is not manipulation. It's a natural psychological trigger. Women are wired to respond to scarcity. When something important feels slightly out of reach, it becomes more noticeable and desirable. Absence works because it shifts the balance. When you are always available, she may take your attention for granted. Pulling back, even subtly, forces her to evaluate your presence. Her mind starts asking questions she might not consciously realize. Why isn't he reaching out? Does he have other options? Do I risk losing him? These thoughts trigger her nervous system, which translates into changes in behavior. Some women respond quickly with visible attention, initiating conversation, laughing more when you're around, or increasing playful teasing. Others respond in quieter ways, like checking your social media activity or remembering small details you mentioned. Both are signs that your absence is creating a psychological effect. She's assessing your value and deciding how much effort she wants to invest to maintain your connection. The timing of absence matters. A sudden extreme pullback can feel abrupt and push her away, while a measured, confident pause creates curiosity without panic. Even taking small breaks from texting, delaying replies slightly, or focusing on your own activities consistently can trigger awareness. It signals that you have priorities, a life outside her, and a steady sense of self. Women are naturally attracted to men who operate from stability rather than constant need. Physical presence or lack thereof also plays a role when you are around. Your calm confidence, subtle body language, and unshakable demeanor reinforce the psychological effect of scarcity. She notices micro expressions, posture, and timing of engagement. Subtle cues like standing tall, maintaining comfortable personal space, and engaging on your terms communicate value without words. The key is consistency. Absence must be paired with emotional stability. If you pull back and become anxious, the effect reverses. Women respond to confident distance, not desperation. The combination of presence and strategic absence creates tension, curiosity, and attraction simultaneously. Observing her reaction during this phase is critical. Notice whether she mirrors your energy, initiates interaction, or shows subtle signs of longing. These are the signals that her fear of losing you is activating. Men who understand this stage don't overreact. They continue living their life, stay confident, and let the natural effect of absence work. Takeaway: absence creates awareness and desire. By stepping back strategically, you trigger her subconscious evaluation process. She notices your value, begins to wonder about your priorities, and starts assessing what losing you would mean. This stage lays the foundation for deeper attraction, emotional pull, and a sense of urgency that positions you as someone worth investing in. 2. Displaying confidence. Confidence is one of the strongest triggers of a woman's fear of losing a man. When you step back and show that your life goals and emotions aren't dependent on her, you instantly increase your perceived value. Confidence communicates self-sufficiency, stability, and emotional control, qualities that naturally inspire curiosity and attraction. This isn't about arrogance or showing off. True confidence is calm, steady, and consistent. It's reflected in small behaviors: how you carry yourself, how you speak, and how you engage when you do interact. A man who laughs easily, maintains relaxed posture, and communicates without over-explaining signals security. Women pick up on these micro signals instinctively. Confidence is magnified by your ability to maintain boundaries. If you step back without guilt or overthinking, you demonstrate that your attention is earned and not freely given. Women notice this. It creates tension, a mental pull, and a sense of urgency. I need to make my connection with him count because he won't wait around. Boundaries paired with calm confidence make your absence meaningful rather than irritating. Your lifestyle is another reflection of confidence. Men who focus on their goals, maintain social connections, and cultivate personal growth create natural scarcity. This doesn't mean ignoring her completely. It means showing that your life is full and your attention is valuable. When she senses that you are secure and thriving independently, her brain starts to weigh what losing you would mean. Small daily actions reinforce confidence. Responding on your own terms, making decisions without seeking approval, and pursuing activities that excite you all signal emotional self-sufficiency. Women sense this energy. Subtle cues like standing tall in conversation, keeping eye contact, and speaking with clarity communicate control without needing words. Emotional regulation is equally important. A confident man doesn't panic if she doesn't reply immediately, doesn't overanalyze, and avoids unnecessary explanations. This stability reassures her subconscious that you are reliable, high value, and not desperate for approval. The absence combined with calm confidence creates a psychological push and pull that heightens attraction. Observe her responses carefully. Women often increase attention subtly when they notice confident behavior. She may mirror your body language, laugh more, or initiate small interactions. These are signals that her fear of losing you is engaging. The stronger your confidence, the more pronounced these behaviors become. Takeaway: confidence triggers emotional evaluation. It amplifies the effect of absence, making her notice your value and consider what losing you would mean. By maintaining self-assurance, emotional stability, and boundaries, you create a magnetic presence that inspires curiosity, desire, and attention naturally. 3. Strategic availability. Strategic availability is a key method to trigger a woman's fear of losing you. It's about being present in her life, but on your own terms, without overcommitting or chasing attention. When a man is selectively available, it creates value, tension, and curiosity. Women notice this instantly, even if they don't consciously articulate it. The principle is simple. Don't always say yes, and don't always respond immediately. If she calls or texts, take a measured approach. Your energy should communicate that your attention is earned and that your life has its own priorities. This isn't gamesmanship, it's a reflection of self-respect and emotional balance. When you make yourself selectively available, her brain evaluates your presence as something worth securing. Physical presence works the same way. If you see her in person, show engagement, but maintain calm composure. Participate fully in the interaction, but don't overextend. Subtle actions like maintaining relaxed posture, making eye contact without fawning or smiling, confidently communicate value. The contrast between your availability and your independence heightens her attention. Strategic availability also means prioritizing your own life consistently, whether it's work, hobbies, or friendships. When she sees that your time is not entirely devoted to her, it sparks psychological tension. Her mind starts asking, how important am I to him? Is he slipping away? What will I lose if I don't pay attention? This internal evaluation naturally triggers desire and emotional investment. Timing of engagement matters. Respond too quickly or too often, and the effect diminishes. Respond too late or inconsistently without reason, and she may lose interest. The balance is steady, deliberate engagement, showing that you care, but only when it aligns with your own life and priorities. This creates a sense of challenge and intrigue, which deepens attraction. Subtle verbal cues reinforce strategic availability. Speak concisely, confidently, and with purpose. Avoid over-explaining or justifying your actions. When you demonstrate that your attention is intentional rather than automatic, you signal high value. Women notice when their presence is appreciated but not guaranteed, and that awareness naturally triggers fear of losing you. Observation is crucial. Watch her micro behaviors. Does she initiate more, mirror your energy, or show small signs of attention when you're present? These are indicators that your selective engagement is creating impact. The stronger your consistency and calmness, the more these signals intensify. Takeaway: strategic availability triggers desire by creating balance between presence and independence. When you are engaged on your terms, it makes her reflect on your value and consider the consequences of losing you. This approach combines emotional stability, confidence, and subtle tension to naturally inspire attention, curiosity, and longing. 4. Subtle validation. Triggering a woman's fear of losing you isn't about constant attention. It's about subtle validation. This is the art of acknowledging her presence, effort, or qualities in ways that feel natural, calm, and intentional. When done correctly, subtle validation makes her notice your attention and care without making it seem like you're chasing her. Subtle validation works because it communicates awareness and appreciation while keeping your own value intact. For example, compliment her on something specific and meaningful rather than general praise. Instead of saying, "You look nice," you might comment on her insight during a conversation, her dedication to a goal, or a personality trait that stands out. These targeted observations make her feel seen, while reinforcing that your attention is deliberate and selective. Timing and delivery are essential. If you compliment or acknowledge her too often, it loses impact. The goal is to create the pattern where your recognition feels earned, noticeable, and impactful. When a woman experiences this type of validation, it sparks a subtle fear of losing you. She notices that your attention is thoughtful, limited, and valuable, which increases her emotional engagement. Nonverbal, subtle validation is just as powerful. Micro expressions such as smiling at something she does, nodding while she speaks, maintaining steady eye contact, or offering brief but genuine gestures of support signal recognition without overexposure. These cues communicate that you are present, attentive, and emotionally grounded, reinforcing the idea that your attention is valuable and not to be taken for granted. Strategic restraint enhances the effect by combining subtle validation with moments of absence or selective engagement. You create an emotional tension that increases her awareness of your value. She begins to recognize the gap when you're not immediately available and contrasts it with the moments when you do offer thoughtful attention. This contrast triggers psychological pull, making her more invested and aware of the consequences of losing you. Observing her response is critical. Subtle signs such as increased warmth, small gestures mirroring your energy, or renewed engagement indicate that your approach is working. Conversely, if she appears indifferent, it may signal that her attachment or investment is lower, which can guide how you proceed. Verbal cues reinforce subtle validation further. Thoughtful comments like teasing or acknowledging her perspective in conversation creates emotional resonance. This demonstrates that you are paying attention without compromising your independence or overextending emotionally. Takeaway: subtle validation triggers awareness and emotional investment. It signals recognition, appreciation, and intentionality, making her conscious of your value. Combined with strategic absence, confidence, and selective engagement, this approach strengthens attraction, triggers curiosity, and naturally inspires a fear of losing you. 5. Creating emotional contrast. One of the most powerful ways to trigger a woman's fear of losing you is through emotional contrast. This technique isn't about being inconsistent or playing games. It's about creating experiences that highlight your value, independence, and the emotional highs of being around you. When a woman experiences moments of connection, excitement, or intrigue, followed by calm, confident distance, her mind begins to notice what she might lose if she doesn't invest. Emotional contrast works on a simple psychological principle. Humans are wired to notice differences. When you alternate between engaging her in meaningful ways and stepping back strategically, it amplifies her perception of your presence. The result is heightened attention, increased curiosity, and a subconscious evaluation of your importance in her life. She starts asking herself questions like, do I risk losing him? What would life be like without his attention? There are several ways to create emotional contrast. One is through conversation. Engage her in discussions that are stimulating, playful, or even slightly challenging. Show humor, intelligence, or insight that captures her attention. After these moments, take a step back. Don't immediately follow up or chase interaction. The space you create gives her mind room to process your presence and increases her awareness of your value. Physical presence adds another layer. When interacting in person, use body language to create subtle contrasts. Lean in while showing genuine interest, then casually pull back or shift focus to other activities. Smile, maintain eye contact, and mirror her energy selectively. These small shifts signal that you are attentive but not entirely dependent on her attention, which sparks subconscious evaluation and desire. Timing is critical. Emotional contrast shouldn't feel random or forced. The goal is natural, seamless movement between connection and independence. Women notice when a man is intentionally present yet autonomous. This balance triggers curiosity and desire. Overdoing it can appear manipulative, while underdoing it may fail to create any emotional pull. Another form of emotional contrast comes from actions outside of direct interaction. Pursuing your goals, maintaining social connections, and engaging in hobbies during periods of limited communication communicates self-sufficiency. When she sees that your life continues with or without her, it strengthens the fear of losing you. She begins to weigh your presence against your absence, subconsciously assessing the risk of losing a high-value connection. Observation is key. Watch how she responds to moments of engagement versus periods of absence. Increased attention, playful teasing, or subtle gestures of care indicate that the emotional contrast is triggering her evaluation of your value. These reactions are signs that her mind is actively processing the potential consequences of losing you. Takeaway: emotional contrast creates desire and awareness by combining engaging interaction with strategic distance. It highlights your independence, increases curiosity, and triggers a subtle fear of losing you. Mastering this balance strengthens attraction naturally, making your presence more impactful and your absence meaningful. 6. Demonstrating independence. Demonstrating independence is one of the most effective ways to trigger a woman's fear of losing you. Women are instinctively drawn to men who have their own lives, priorities, and direction. When you show that your happiness and fulfillment don't rely on her attention, it automatically increases your perceived value and sparks a subtle sense of urgency. Independence is not just about having hobbies or a career, it's about the energy and mindset you project. A man who makes decisions confidently, sets boundaries, and pursues personal goals communicates stability, emotional control, and strength. These qualities create a natural pull because women sense that your attention is intentional, not automatic. This scarcity heightens desire and begins to trigger the fear of losing you. Practical ways to demonstrate independence include scheduling your life around your priorities, maintaining friendships, and actively pursuing passions. When she sees that you're fully engaged in your own life, she subconsciously evaluates your worth. Actions like going out with friends, dedicating time to work, or taking part in fitness or creative pursuits signal that you are self-sufficient and emotionally secure. Your presence is or valuable because it's not guaranteed. She has to earn it through connection and engagement. Another critical element is emotional independence. Avoid reacting impulsively to her moods, texts, or minor provocations. If she senses that your emotional state is stable regardless of her attention, it increases her curiosity and investment. Emotional resilience communicates that you are grounded, reliable, and not easily swayed, which strengthens attraction. Independence also shows up in subtle communication patterns, responding on your own schedule, making choices without over-explaining, and speaking confidently about your life signals that you are fully in control. Women notice when a man operates from a place of stability rather than need, which sparks the psychological pull of scarcity and value. The combination of independence and subtle engagement creates tension. When she sees that you are emotionally and socially self-sufficient, your attention becomes more valuable, and the fear of losing you begins to emerge naturally. Small gestures like engaging meaningfully when present, paired with periods of calm focus on your own life, amplify this effect. Observe her responses carefully. Signs such as increased attention, playful teasing, or attempts to align with your schedule indicate that your independence is sparking awareness and desire. Women are wired to notice when a man's attention is valuable, and your consistent demonstration of autonomy strengthens the emotional connection while triggering her subconscious evaluation. Takeaway: demonstrating independence increases perceived value, fosters curiosity, and triggers the fear of losing you. By living your life fully, maintaining emotional stability, and balancing engagement with personal priorities, you create a magnetic presence that women notice, respect, and invest in naturally. 7. Showing selective appreciation. The final piece in triggering a woman's fear of losing you is selective appreciation. This isn't about showering her with constant praise. It's about intentionally acknowledging her in ways that feel meaningful, measured, and earned. When a man expresses appreciation selectively, it signals value, discernment, and emotional intelligence, which naturally heightens attraction. Selective appreciation works because it highlights contrast. If she experiences your attention as limited, thoughtful, and intentional, her mind begins to weigh your presence against the risk of losing it. Small gestures like noticing effort she's put into her appearance, remembering something personal she shared, or complimenting a unique quality carry more weight than generic or frequent praise. The subtlety makes your recognition feel special, and the rarity makes it memorable. Timing matters. Deliver appreciation after meaningful interactions rather than immediately or excessively. For example, if she shares an accomplishment or expresses a viewpoint, acknowledging it briefly but sincerely communicates that you notice her without overextending. This balance makes her feel valued while reinforcing that your attention is earned, not automatic. Nonverbal appreciation is equally powerful. Smiles, eye contact, subtle gestures, or light physical touch during conversation convey recognition and engagement. These cues communicate emotional investment while keeping your independence intact. Women are sensitive to these micro signals, and when paired with your calm confidence and strategic absence, they trigger curiosity, reflection, and subtle longing. Selective appreciation also reinforces boundaries. By choosing what to acknowledge, you establish emotional standards that communicate self respect. Women notice when a man values himself enough to recognize only what matters to him, and this triggers deeper attention. It encourages her to align her behavior with your energy, creating a psychological pull that increases desire. Observe her responses carefully. If she mirrors your energy, engages more enthusiastically, or seeks your attention in subtle ways, it's a clear sign that your selective appreciation is working. The combination of acknowledgement and strategic restraint triggers awareness of your value, heightens emotional engagement, and subtly activates the fear of losing you. Verbal and behavioral cues should feel effortless and genuine. Overdoing appreciation can dilute the effect, while underdoing it can leave her feeling unnoticed. The key is to integrate recognition naturally into interactions, allowing your value to shine without needing constant reinforcement. Takeaway: selective appreciation triggers emotional evaluation and desire. By recognizing her thoughtfully, expressing attention sparingly, and pairing it with strategic absence, independence, and emotional contrast, you increase her awareness of your value. This approach makes your presence meaningful, your absence impactful, and naturally creates a subtle fear of losing you, deepening attraction and emotional connection. Triggering a woman's fear of losing you is about combining psychology, presence, and emotional strategy. Absence, confidence, selective attention, independence, and subtle validation work together to make your value clear without chasing or over-explaining. Women respond to emotional contrast, intentional engagement, and thoughtful recognition, creating curiosity and desire. By observing her reactions, maintaining your priorities, and balancing attention with autonomy, you naturally increase attraction while inspiring reflection on what losing you would mean. Apply these principles consistently, and your presence becomes